we leave absolutely no stone unturned. And when somebody starts getting talked about as about being possibly to the 49ers, we want to take a look at it. And the parting of ways in free agency, which was interesting that it was called parting of ways, between Patrick Peterson and the Cardinals is a real possibility. Horse, do you see Patrick Peterson being a fit for the 49ers, and how much would you pay for Patrick Peterson?
I think this one's a little more far-fetched than others we've heard for a couple of reasons. One, he does not sound very keen to not be on the Cardinals next year. He sounds like he'd really like to be back. Two, he made $13 million last year, and if he wants anything near that, that's probably a little bit out of the 49ers price range. So between those two things, I'm not expecting this to happen. He's a very, very good player and a guy that I think would help the 49ers at defensive back if things fall through with like Stephon Gilmore and stuff like that. They weren't able to pick someone like that up. I think he's a great player, but I think they'd be looking to pay him $6 to $8 million, not $12, $13 million. So if they can't get that figured out, then it won't happen. My money would be on him ending up back with the Cardinals next year. But I do think he fits the team and a need.
I agree with you there. I think he fits a team in a need, but I don't think he fits the 49ers. I think the money is too much. I think there's been a noticeable drop-off in Patrick Peterson's ability to cover elite wide receivers in the NFL. I think that has occurred and has happened. I think for the 49ers, what you would have to pay the man isn't worth what you would need to pay someone like Stephon Gilmore. It's going to be closer to what Richard Sherman was making, maybe a little bit more than that. And I think the only reason I would maybe do it and pay him that much money if he was still the threat in the return game that he used to be, and he's not as big of a threat as he used to be in the return game, so he doesn't add that extra dynamic on the football field. That's not a knock on the guy at all. I just don't think it's worth the money that it would have been worth a couple of seasons ago. He's one of those guys like 2 years ago when he was still 29, 28 years old, that if you paid him that kind of money and if his contract was up at that time and you extended him, you were still going to get 3 or 4 elite years out of Patrick Peterson, and then a couple where it would have been like Richard Sherman here, his first couple years in San Francisco, where you can tell there's still something there with Richard, but you know the decline's coming at some point. At this point, at this rate of his career at 31, I know he hasn't had much of a massive injury history, so you're not really taking a risk there, but you are taking a risk of paying a guy a lot of money in the twilight of his career when there might not be a whole lot left in the tank.
Patrick Peterson is not better than Jason Verrett at this point in his career.
Nope.
Jason Verrett is a better player, so I value Jason Verrett over him. So I wouldn't bring him in, besides something that's really cheap. He's not going to come in for something cheap. There's going to be a team that's going to overpay him, somebody with huge salary cap space. This is a move that they make, somebody like the Jaguars, somebody like that puts forth a lot of money. I think Horse is right. He would rather go back to Arizona. Arizona is not going to give him that much money. They have other areas of need. They could draft a corner and just, replace him. So I think they're going to look to make a move that way. Peterson is a great player. He was an elite player. He had good games this year against the Seahawks and some of those teams, but he also got smoked against some of those teams. So I don't think he's somebody that the 49ers ultimately target. If they did target him and he came in for a very cheap amount of money, I would understand it. Once again, another guy that plays man coverage, press zone coverage, a guy that fits more the mold of what the 49ers defense has been going to over the last year with Robert Saleh, and will probably continue that way this year, especially with our safeties the way that they're playing. So I think that just goes towards it.
Yeah, I agree with you that the only way they would bring him in is cheap like that. And to me, the only way Peterson takes a cheap deal is with Arizona. I think he's going to come in, like you said, we always talk about those teams, Detroit, Jacksonville, Jets, that go out and decide to spend a bunch of money, and everyone, oh, look how much better that team got this year, and then they get to the season and So I think Peterson's a great player. This is no disrespect to him. I just don't really see this happening.
No, highly unlikely. And I think the Cardinals would be willing to pay him a little bit more to keep him away from San Francisco than other teams. So probably not going to happen, but let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you want Patrick Peterson in San Francisco? How much are you willing to pay him? If so, You think he'd be a good pairing? Do you think bringing a guy like him in might cost us a guy like Verrett? Let us know what you think in the comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the page. Hit that notification bell as well. Like the video. We want to have a conversation. We want you to be involved in the community. We want to hear from you on all of our videos, not just this one.
Yeah, the cornerback position is going to be a topic all the way through until free agency. Then we're going to get a very good idea of what the 49ers plan. If they don't bring anyone back, then it becomes a draft need big time. If they do bring people back or address it with Gilmore and Verrett or even Peterson, we'll see what happens. There could be also other options, but the 49ers, this is a pressing issue for them. What will they do in the DB positions?
Absolutely. Until next time, stay safe.
Remember the right way.
It's always the 49ers way.